Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
And a very good Monday afternoon to you. As I thought we were behind all of this cold mess here. I guess that was just fake spring, wasn't it? We get that here in South Carolina. We get that fake spring, and everything starts blooming, and people start hacking and sneezing and coughing, and get the cold. And it'll start up again. Won't be long. So, hey, I want to start the show out by saying congratulations to a young local fella, Jacob Bridgman, who won on the PGA Tour yesterday. He's from Inman. He won at the Genesis yesterday. His first PGA Tour win. He was in the final pairing with Rory McIlroy. Good job, Jacob Bridgman. Young fella just got married about 6 months ago. So that's a good way to start off a marriage with a big old paycheck like that. So congratulations to you very, very much. Did you see where it was supposed to snow this morning? Did you see that? There was a chance of snow this morning. It didn't. We didn't get any here that I know of, but my mother-in-law up in Rhode Island, she is in the process right now of getting 15 inches of snow today alone. 15 inches of snow today. Good gracious. How they do that? I don't know how they do that. But we're keeping an eye on her, make sure her power is still on and all of that stuff. I don't know if you guys have been seeing it. You probably have. Things really kicked off in Mexico with the killing of El Mencho, who is the most wanted drug lord in all of Mexico. He is dead now. American tourists are being ordered to shelter in place, and they have had – now, this is cartel violence. This isn't military violence. This isn't protester violence. These are the members of the cartel, the drug runners. And when you affect their money and when you affect their leadership, they strike back. They strike back in a big way. In fact, the violence has spread to 20 out of 31 Mexican states. That's nearly 2/3 of the entire country. And the Mexican government is trying to send in military support for law enforcement. What? Really? Military support for law enforcement? That's weird. Because law enforcement is extremely outgunned. They don't have the resources that the cartels. This is why the president labeled them a terrorist organization. They've got the guns. They've got the armored vehicles. They've got the body armor. They've got all. They are literally a paramilitary organization in the cartels. And they are dangerous. Now, just think about this for a second. Those people are just right across our border. I mean, directly across our border here in the United States. That should really be what concerns us the most. That should be what concerns us the most, but we'll see what happens with that. Because, I mean, it's absolutely nuts. Maybe the president will address that tomorrow night in his State of the Union address. This will be his first State of the Union address as president of the United States. Maybe you thought that there was another one earlier. That was not a State of the Union address. That was an address to the joint session of Congress, completely different animal. Tomorrow night, he's going to start talking about the economy, and he says it's going to be a long speech because they got a lot to say, because we do have good things going on in our economy. We have very good things happening. But the problem is, the real issue is the mainstream media won't cover it. They don't put that information out there. Now, if anything bad happens, oh, yes, they're all over that. But they do not tell you, I mean, just look at the unemployment rate. Look, I mean, we are getting back to where we were. Inflation, 2.3%. Those are all very good things. I'm sure President Trump is going to talk about the tariffs. He'll probably also talk about how mortgage rates have dropped to under 6% now, which is we got to go way back to find anything like that. So tomorrow night's going to be a long speech. We will be carrying that tomorrow night. Coverage starts at 8 o'clock of the President's State of the Union address. And as we speak, the members of the United States hockey team are headed down to Mar-a-Lago to see the president. And, oh, poor Canada. Oh, Canada, I feel so sorry for you. Not really, but I'll say it. I feel real sorry for you, Canada. By golly, you lost 2 heartbreakers to American teams. The U.S. women's team won the gold in overtime, and then not to be outdone, the men's team won the gold in overtime against Canada in both of those competitions. So, wah, 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 to all you people in Canada, sorry. I know it hurts your little hearts because that's basically all you guys live for, but there you go. There you go. So the president, and the president talked to him. He was like, hey, you guys want to come down to Mar-a-Lago? And they said, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Because, see, these are athletes, and they realize what a great honor it is to go see the president in Mar-a-Lago. Unlike the Democrats, who are going to be boycotting the State of the Union address tomorrow night. Now, they think that's going to matter, but I don't believe it is. I don't think anybody that's going to boycott that speech coming up tomorrow night, you are not going to be missed. So we don't have to, some things we don't have to look forward to. All of the female members of the left sitting there in their white outfits. Maybe they've been planning red, like a Handmaid's Tale sort of attire. We don't have to listen. We don't have to see them holding up little paddles with the word liar on it or not true or whatever. You don't have to worry. Good. Nobody cares. Don't show up. Democrats don't realize that if you throw a party and they don't show up, everybody's relieved. Everybody's glad you're not there because nobody cares. You're not a lot of fun. We know that. You're always angry about something. So good, don't show up. Who gives a rat's rump? That's just going to give them less airtime. No, again, that coverage coming up tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. What else we're going to be talking about today? We're going to have Attorney General Alan Wilson on with us at 4:06. You don't want to miss out on that conversation. We'll talk more about what's going on in Mexico. And speaking of Mar-a-Lago, young person was shot and killed by the Secret Service at Mar-a-Lago. We'll give you some details on that and exactly what the heck he was doing there. Plus, Canadian Broadcasting Company was actually promoting not long ago that their citizens vacation in Mexico. I wonder how they feel about that right now. Now we'll find out. When we get back, you won't believe what they're asking you to do in New York City because of the snowfall. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Joey Hudson here. Start your day early on Sunrise Carolina tomorrow morning at 5 on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Act on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
As I told you a few minutes ago, my mother-in-law up in Westerly, Rhode Island, is getting 15 inches of snow today. That's a lot of snow. That really is. So, and here's the thing, because I didn't know what do I know about snow? I grew up in Augusta, lived in Columbia, lived down in Charleston, live in the upstate of South Carolina. What do I know? I don't know anything about snow. I thought if you had that much snow, you just come out and get a snow plow, and it takes care of the snow. But as my wife was telling me today, my mother-in-law had somebody come out and actually plow the snow at her house, but she said the biggest problem with snow is not plowing it, it's where to put it. That's the big problem. Charlie, I saw snow flurries this morning around 7:30. Oh, after I dropped my son off at school and I'm in Greer. How about that? That's pretty cool. I didn't know. So yeah, that's where you put all this snow. So now she's going to have a 4 or 5 foot snow bank basically in her front yard. And as the people of New York City realize, that's also the same as there. So they're telling people to stay home because it's going to be a pretty significant snowfall in New York City. But listen to what Mondani wanted you to do, because they got so much snow and so few resources. Take a listen to what Mondani said.
Neighbors and earn some extra cash, you too can become an emergency snow shoveler. Just show up at your local sanitation garage between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow with your paperwork, which is accessible online at nyc.gov/snow.
I'm sorry, show up with what?
8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow with your paperwork, which is
your paperwork. Got to show up with your paperwork to volunteer. Now, I think they're going to pay him $30 an hour. But in order to get that paperwork, you know what you have to have? Can anybody guess what you got to have to get the paperwork in New York City over here? You got to have yourself a little bit of identification over there. That's right. You got to have your ID. In fact, in order to get your paperwork to go be a snow shoveler in New York City, you have to have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 forms of identification. To be a volunteer, quote-unquote, paid snow shoveler, do I have 5 forms of ID? Good gracious. I got 2 on me right now. I got 2 on me. I got 1 at the house. I got 2 at the house. So I got 4. I've got 4. I got 4 that I can are readily available. Maybe a power bill would help that. But anyway, 5 forms of identification. In order to get the privilege of being a quote-unquote paid volunteer snow shoveler. So you got to have your ID. Well, nobody's calling him racist for that. Nobody's calling him sexist for that. Nobody's saying this is no, of course not, because it's all a bunch of BS. Because he knows everybody out there, practically everybody in New York City that's not sleeping on the streets has got ID. They know that. I wonder how many people. Well, coming up in a little bit, I'm going to play you a clip of somebody that actually went in and tried to volunteer to be a snow shoveler. But that's the whole thing right now about the SAVE Act, making sure you are an American citizen and you have ID in order to be able to vote. Well, not everybody thinks everybody's got ID. In fact, our own Jim Clyburn was on with Gavin Newsom. I want you to listen to what he said about ID.
How many people go out, get married,
yes,
and then square their married name with their birth certificate?
And that would be thrown out under that law.
Under that law?
No. Because every bit of identification that you need to change your name to your husband's name is the exact amount of ID that you need to register to vote. It's exactly the same thing, but they don't want you to know that. Now, listen, this is Gavin Newsom. Listen to what he said.
Not a joke. No, I mean, so this is madness. Voter ID. It's not about voter ID. The SAVE Act's not about that. It's about registration. It's about proving your citizenship.
Yeah.
With a passport.
Right.
Not everyone has a passport.
All right.
If you I don't know you know where your birth certificate is? I lost that at 7.
Huh, you lost that at 7, did you? I bet you're lying. I bet you're lying about that. Because somewhere along the way, Gavin Newsom, on your way to be governor of California, I will bet you had to show your birth certificate somewhere along the way. But by golly, birth certificates are just so hard to get. Right, Bernie Sanders?
No, you're not talking about voter ID. That's the way Trump defines it. But you're talking about, now I don't know about California, just an issue, but I do know what's going on in Washington, is that some geniuses think that before you can, maybe I have it wrong here, register to vote, you need a passport or your birth certificate. Do you have a passport or your birth certificate?
At the moment?
Do you?
I do.
Right,
I have
but millions of people don't. I don't have my birth certificate. God knows how I get it.
God knows how I get it. I don't even know how to get my birth certificate. Nobody knows how to get a birth certificate. Well, here's what I did over the weekend. I decided, now I have my birth certificate. It's at home, in the safe. I said, let's see how difficult it is to go get my birth certificate. So I went to my state of birth, Georgia, and I went to the Georgia Vital Records Department online, and I requested my birth certificate. I filled out all of the information up until the point where I had to pay because I didn't need a copy of my birth certificate. I've already got one. Do you know how long it took? Approximately 60 seconds. That's it. 60 seconds. It comes up there. It says, who is requesting the birth certificate? You put in your name. Who is the birth certificate for? You put in your name. You put in your county. You put in your date of birth. You put in all the stuff that you know. It literally took 60 seconds before I hit the paywall. What I would have had to put in, and I think it's like $25, and it would have been mailed to me here in Greenville, South Carolina. It's just that. Are you going to tell me, Bernie Sanders, that you don't know that you can go to your state's Vital Records Department and get remember, nobody's got their original birth certificate. The originals are kept at the Vital Records Department. What you have is a certified copy of your birth certificate. Everybody's got that. So we call it the original. But you can get an original. Just like I said, it's just a certified copy of the original. But it doesn't take long at all. It takes practically no time whatsoever to get your birth certificate. None. But these people are acting like it's some big... I will guarantee you, it takes less time to go online and get your birth certificate than it does to go online and open up a Netflix account. It takes less time to get a birth certificate than to go into your phone store and get a new phone. But people don't have a problem with that. People don't have a problem with go and get a new phone. They'll stand in line for that. My goodness. All right, let's go to Cowboy Bob. He's out in Spartanburg. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, man.
Look here. I got a theory on this thing they got about the snow shovelers.
Yeah.
It's not about they got to be American citizens. They want to make sure they ain't got no illegals down there because with all that deep snow, they can't run from ice.
You might be right,
the
Bob.
Thing I can
you
think
might
of.
be right.
And I got one more thing, too.
All right.
Get you a cowbell or something like that. That little bell you rang.
No.
For tea.
Have you not heard the new bell?
No, evidently I hadn't.
Well, let me play it for you. Much better, Bell. Much better. I appreciate it, Bob. Let's go to Jeff in Spartanburg. Jeff, welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, my wife, we're traveling to Vancouver in a few months, and to do that, she had to get a passport.
Right.
But she lost her birth certificate. But just like you said, you can go on to the state website. She's in Georgia.
Yeah.
She had to order a new birth certificate. Got that. Went down to the post office. Got her passport made. The whole thing took less than 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean,
Yeah, very simple.
now you can testify. It did not take long at all to order that copy of the birth certificate, did it?
Couple minutes.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it takes. I appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you very much. Let's go to Gail in Greenville. Gail, welcome.
Hi there.
Hello.
My concern is that these stupid people that are supposed to be in the Senate and Congress and everywhere else that don't know how to order a birth certificate.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that's making our laws.
Doesn't that scare
Give
you to
me a
death?
break.
Doesn't that scare you?
Give me a yes.
I know. How
That's the thing.
and they're lying. They're lying. Listen, Bernie Sanders had to have, well, I don't know, he's been in Congress for so long, but he's had to have a birth certificate to renew his passport. I don't know, whatever. But I mean, they're lying. They know how easy it is. They're just trying to make it a
Don't they have
political
to have
football.
the real ID on their license
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, they do.
To
Yeah,
fly?
they do. And they'll
So,
probably
in order to get that.
probably in order to get any security clearances that they have in Congress, they probably had to show a birth certificate for that too.
Yeah,
Right?
you think.
Yeah, to be on some of those
People are
committees.
stupid.
Yep, they are. You're right, Gail. I appreciate it. Going to hit a quick break here, and we'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
He's got a mic, a mission, and no time for nonsense. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9.
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the WRD talk line, 800-905-0989. We'll talk to Todd in Fountain Inn. How you doing, Todd?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, sir.
I keep trying to figure out how the Democrats get away with stuff because first they say that the black community is too dumb to get an ID. Now they're saying the women are too dumb to get an ID. And
right.
By the way, they can now tell you what a woman is because they can't get IDs.
Finally.
Finally, yeah. But also, aren't the Democrats the same people? If I remember correctly, it was about 3 or 4 years back when the gun rights stuff started coming up, said that you had to show proper identification, 2 forms of it, to purchase a firearm.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Am I incorrect about that?
No, you're right.
That would figure out.
At least 2. For the Democrats.
If an ID was so easy to get so that you can get a firearm, why is the ID so hard to get to?
They
vote?
know. They know. It's not about legal citizens getting birth certificates. It's about illegal aliens getting in there and registering to vote. That's what they want. Period.
I know exactly what it is. It's just I love calling out my Democratic friends on it when I'm like,
I know.
And I remember one of the ladies, she said something to me, and I said, well, I don't understand why you're talking with me because obviously you have no clue on how to get an ID. She was not happy about that, by the way. Yeah.
So I can imagine.
Anyway,
we would love to say they're idiots, but that would be an insult to idiots. I appreciate it, Todd. Let's go to Matt in Greenville. Matt, welcome.
Hey, Charlie, how are you?
I'm good, bud. What's going on with you?
Well, I want to say it was about 15 years ago, I was going through some paperwork, and it occurred to me, where the heck is my birth certificate?
Uh-huh.
And so I'm digging through all this paperwork, and it's like, well, okay, it's gone. Deal with it. So it's been a while ago, but the one thing that I distinctly remember about the entire process was when I got done, I thought, my God, that was too easy.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it was, once you got a birth certificate, you can get a driver's license.
Yeah.
You got those 2 things, you can be anybody on the planet you want to be.
A lot of cases, sure.
Yeah, and I just remember it when I got done, I thought, oh, my God, I hope nobody else wants to be Matt from Greenville because it's a piece of cake to get his birth certificate.
It sure is easy. It really is easy. You're right about that, Matt. But, I mean, when you go and you get your first driver's license, what do you got to take to get your first driver's license? Got to take your birth certificate. Got to do that. So it is super easy. In fact, here in South Carolina, because I just looked it up, I went to, and all you got to do is Google South Carolina vital records or whatever search engine you use, South Carolina vital, or whatever state you are originally from. Like my wife would be Rhode Island vital records. So I did South Carolina, and you go in, you just find the little tab that says birth certificate. You can request it online at Go Certificates. That's a $17 fee. Let's see, a $17 is going to cost you about $28.70, I believe. Vital Check is another source that they use. That's the same thing. You can do it through the phone, about the same price, might be a little more over the phone, or you could do it in person and go down to Columbia. That's going to take you about 45 minutes to go get, depending on what time of day you get there. So it is super. You can even mail it in. You can mail it in, and it'll tell you everything you need to do that. So, it's not about legal citizens. It's not about African Americans. It's not about women. It's not about married women. It's not about any of those people. It's about illegal aliens being able to get in there and vote in our elections. That's all they want. That's all they want to happen. Because they want, oh my goodness, they want to open our borders again. Now, we know over the weekend, just absolute all hell broke loose in Mexico. Violence erupted. This is from the Epoch Times. Violence erupted across parts of Mexico after the Mexican military killed cartel member El Mencho on February the 22nd. That was yesterday, including the reported burning of vehicles on highways and gunfire in public places. I even saw where the cartels were using excavating equipment to tear up roads. El Mencho was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, also known as the CJNG, one of the most powerful drug organizations in the country. His death has triggered violence across several states. Footage posted on social media shows scenes of people running for safety in Guadalajara International Airport in Jalisco, Mexico, as alleged CJNG members targeted the airport. Pacific Airport Group later issued a statement on social media saying Guadalajara International Airport was operating normally and no incidents occurred. Well, the smoke might tell a different story. But how long is it going to take before the Democrats start screaming to open our borders again so that all these people that are fleeing cartel violence can come into this country? How long is it going to take? I don't think it's going to take very long at all. They'll figure it out coming up. They'll figure it out. Let's go to Masood in Florence. Masood, welcome.
I thought President Trump obliterated the nuclear.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Well, they just don't want them to build it back. Masood, were you using a fake accent? Were you trying to use a fake Middle Eastern accent, Masood? Is that what you were trying to do? Were you trying to do a little cultural appropriation? You racist. You are a racist. So there you go. Unbelievable. But, again, the liberals, they're going to be calling for our borders to be open again. Because, Charlie, all of these people are trying to get away from the cartels, and you just got to let them get away from the cartels, Charlie. You got to open those borders and let those people in, Charlie. You got to do it. Yeah. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is the Charlie James Show. The right talk. Now more than ever on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the program. Let's go back to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Kevin in Ruffton. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing good, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Correct me if I am wrong, but didn't I hear that Bernie Sanders, on his honeymoon, went to Russia?
Yeah, he went to Russia. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's got a passport, and knows where his birth certificate is. These Democrats are just ridiculous.
They are. You're right. But that's the thing, though. They're lying. I appreciate it, Kevin. You're a little hard to hear there, though. They're lying. They're lying. Gavin Newsom is lying when he says he hasn't seen his birth certificate since he was 7 years old. I can't remember anything I was doing at 7 years old, much less, I better put my birth certificate somewhere so I don't forget. They're lying. That's all they do. Let's go to George in Pickens. George, welcome.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey,
I was just going to let you know, about 1 o'clock today, I got an email from Department of Finance. I'm retired military. Said I needed to provide a birth certificate for one of my sons. And so I looked. I couldn't find it, so I Googled where to find one. There's 3 regional offices in the upstate, Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg. I drove to Anderson, walked in the office, filled out the form. 10 minutes later, I walked out with a birth certificate.
Man.
It was that.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you didn't whine and moan and complain about how hard it was to get a birth certificate?
No.
10-minute process. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
10 minutes.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Hey, George, I appreciate it. It's like JJ just said. It's called being a grown-up. A grown-up. That's why you keep your vital records in a very safe place. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm not the best record keeper in the world, but I've still got my birth certificate. So I don't see how these people have lost theirs throughout the years. I think mine was in a cigar box for many, many years. But anyway, it's not hard to get. It's not hard to get. All right, WRD talk line, 800-905-0989. There was an incident that happened at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. Let's take a listen to Fox News.
Shot and killed an armed man who unlawfully entered the perimeter at Mar-a-Lago early this morning, at 1:30 this morning. The Associated Press is out with some new details right now. They have named, and we have confirmed the name of the suspect, 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin. According to the Associated Press in this bulletin that just crossed, he was reported missing by his family a few days ago. Investigators believe he headed south and picked up a shotgun along the way, and they think that because they found a box for the shotgun in his car. The FBI is right now asking people that live near Mar-a-Lago to check their doorbell cameras, check any cameras that they have in their yards, so they can figure out exactly how this guy got into the area. But it is now believed, according to the AP, that he might have piggybacked behind a vehicle entering Mar-a-Lago lawfully when the gate opened. For more on this right now.
Now, but wait a minute. Oh, this is a weird story now. It's not quite as cut and dry as everybody makes it seem. This guy, Austin Tucker Martin, who I almost said Tucker Carlson, Austin Tucker Martin, who was from just right up the road in North Carolina. They're right up, just hop, skip, and a jump away. From what I read, he was his parents saw him about 1 p.m. I believe it was on Saturday. I'm not sure, whatever day it was. But his parents saw him at 1 p.m., but they reported him missing at 7:45 p.m. of the same day. Now, here's the weird thing. You're a 21-year-old man. JJ, when you were 21 years old, would your folks think anything of it if you went out at 1 o'clock and they hadn't heard from you by 7:45? No. They would have thought, nothing. No. When I was 21 years old, you'd be like, they go a week without hearing from me. So just something a little bit more to that story than I believe meets the eye. So this guy goes to Mar-a-Lago. He's got a can of fuel. He's got a brand new shotgun, from what we hear. Snuck into Mar-a-Lago. When he was confronted by the Secret Service, he raised the shotgun, and then he was eliminated forthwith. So another assassination attempt against President Trump was thwarted. That's 3 at least. Why? Because the Democrats are the most violent among us. Let's go to Earl in Taylor's. Earl, welcome.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, I recently had a death in my family, and one of the things you have to do is send copies of the birth certificate to your creditors and everything else.
Right.
And I went ahead and picked up like a dozen, and my brother picked up a dozen for him. And it was like $1 a piece over at DHEC. We just stopped in the local office over there, and they did our birth certificates for us.
Just right there on the spot.
Right there on the spot, and I've got them put up so in case I croak, it's all ready to go.
There you go. Well, Earl, we hope that is no time soon, my friend. No.
Well, I hope not either.
I appreciate it, pal.
Doesn't hurt to be prepared, man.
That's right. Oh, my goodness. I appreciate it. So my wife and I were over at Common Sense Retirement Planning. We were doing our estate planning. That was so hard to do. Sit there and plan for your own demise. I was just like, holy cow. I at one point, I almost just said, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, we got all that taken care of. But it's easy. It's an easy process. Easy process to get done. Hey, Charlie, you can't even file a police report until it's been 24 hours. I know, right? That's what I always thought. Charlie, they knew what he was going to do. It seems like they didn't want to get in trouble for what his plans were. And I kind of thought the same thing. That was my same line of thinking. This guy had probably said something, and there were some posts online. There's a lot of stuff going online about him, but throw out a vast majority of that. But he did post some stuff online about the Epstein files and things like that. Charlie, I don't think the Democrats are lying. I actually think they are that dumb. That's what one texter says. Charlie, they're running the country and they can't get a birth certificate? And their followers are cool with that? Yeah, absolutely they are. They're completely okay with it. WRD Talk Line, 800-9050-989. That's also the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to be talking with Attorney General Alan Wilson. Got some issues to discuss with them. And Canada was recently running a feature about how their citizens should not vacation in the United States, but they should vacation in Mexico, particularly Puerto Vallarta. I wonder how they're feeling about that today. Probably not too good. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk. Charlie. Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
America is back.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we got a lot going on here in the state of South Carolina. Joining us right now is the Attorney General of South Carolina, Alan Wilson. How are you, sir?
Hey, good afternoon. Great to be with your program again. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Let's talk a little bit about the state of South Carolina as far as election integrity is concerned, because that seems to be where everybody's mind is these days. How secure are our elections here in South Carolina?
Well, right now, I can tell you we're fighting in the courts to protect South Carolina's voter integrity laws. We have the NAACP, some other groups have just sued to have our election integrity laws thrown out because we bar the ballot harvesting that you see in other states.
Right.
And so that prohibition on ballot harvesting is something that we were defending in court right now. So last week I filed a motion to have their case thrown out because they thought it would be discriminatory against people, say, like in retirement homes and things of that nature. So, 12 years ago or 13 years ago, I defended South Carolina's voter identification law. Our voter ID laws were the first to be successfully defended in the country. I mean, listen, you always want to pass laws. You always want to make sure that the processes for conducting elections are sound. And my role as the Attorney General is to defend the voter integrity laws that we pass as a state to ensure that they are sound and defended. This goes back to the 2020 election. I went to the Supreme Court on voter integrity in the Trump election, and we could have dealt with it there. The Supreme Court not thrown it out on standing grounds. But at the end of the day, we're always going to fight for voter integrity here in South Carolina. As long as I'm Attorney General, we're going to defend those laws.
Explain to everyone exactly what ballot harvesting is.
So basically, you go out and you get ballots for a bunch of people. So you're harvesting, you get hundreds, dozens, if not hundreds, and then you go vote for them, and then you deposit them, and you go vote for them.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing that that's even allowed.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, other states it's very loosely drafted. In South Carolina, we've limited to 5.
Okay.
So, like, if you had some people who were bedridden and couldn't leave, and you wanted to get their ballots, that's what the law says. Some people may even disagree with that, but they're trying to remove that cap of 5 to let you can go. There's 300 people that want to do absentee ballots. You can go pick up all of their ballots and bring them back, and then who's to determine who's voting for them? That's the big concern there. Also, we have laws on the books that say you have to have your ballots in by the election day. You have to have it postmarked or by, back during the election law of 2020, the one that I went to the Supreme Court on, that was the Pennsylvania case where the Constitution says only state legislatures can pass laws with the time, manner, and location of elections. Well, judges and certain election officials were changing the rules because of COVID was going on at the time.
Right.
And so this is what's crazy. They passed a rule saying that you could collect the ballots 3 days after the election, unsigned by the elector or the voter, and not even postmarked, and you could count them because COVID was somehow preventing people from getting them in.
Right.
And so 3 days after the election's over, you can go see what the deficit is that you need in a precinct or a county on not just a presidential election, but a local election, and you can go do that. And we went to the Supreme Court saying election officials can't do that. Only the legislatures can do that.
And they did it. They did that in plenty of places. So if the SAVE Act is passed, do you consider this federal overreach as far as election is concerned?
Look, listen, on the regulation of federal elections, the Constitution is clear. Mm-hmm. The state legislatures or the Congress, can basically legislate the time, manner, and location of federal elections or the Electoral College. That's in the Constitution, and obviously that's the way it is. But the state elections are left to the states.
Right. Yeah. So people are always talking, and we are hearing this argument all over the place that it's too hard to prove or too hard for some people to get ID. That's just blatantly false, isn't it?
No, and it's almost insulting. I mean, it really is insulting. Some of the arguments that were being made, and I've talked. I went in and sat down with a group of black pastors back during that period of time when we were defending our voter ID laws, and I explained to them, this is what the law says, this is what the law requires, and what they all told me is they said, "Do people think we're idiots?
Yeah.
I mean, do they think we're not capable?" And I would say to these really wonderful people that were my friends, I would say, some people actually do. They're saying that you don't have the ability because of who you are, what you look like, or where you live, or where you are on the socioeconomic ladder, that you can't get an ID. And this would be discriminatory. And they were personally offended by it. And I was offended for them.
Yeah.
Because this is the 21st century now. And if we can't, people can't get a basic ID to be able to get their Medicaid or be able to board a plane, to get their government benefits. And, how can they make the argument they can't have an ID to go vote?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Let's turn to South Carolina because I know there's been a lot in the news lately about Scout Motors. We paid them $1.3 billion to come here. Then they take their corporate headquarters up to Charlotte. Then, some of the vendors want $200 million more. Where are we standing on that? I mean, taxpayers of South Carolina have had enough of this, I think.
No, and I'm vehemently opposed to that corporate bailout. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I have no problems with companies like Scout coming to South Carolina. I just don't want them to get benefits that are not available to other small businesses. I don't want them to be treated as a super citizen compared to men and women who are opening up businesses here in our state. The other thing, I talked to advocates on behalf of Scout who were saying, well, listen, if we don't do this, then South Carolina's not going to meet its obligations to finish its contracts, to build the interchanges, and, we're not going to be able to pay the vendors. I'm like, well, first off, why did South Carolina sign a contract where if there were cost overruns or there were something that happened that prevented us from, being able to meet our scheduled conclusion of this project, why did South Carolina bear the full burden? Scout's the one with the bringing the capital in here. Why did they not pick up some of the cost of that? Why are we paying for all of the cost overruns on their part? And so that it was a bad deal. And when I'm governor, we're not going to make deals like that.
And that was my question that I was just about to ask you, because Alan Wilson running for governor of South Carolina, would you be a governor that would stand up to against the legislature on bills like this?
Look, absolutely. I have a lot of friends in the legislature. I talked to a friend today in the legislature who says they regret their vote for this thing. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we run into these deals where we're trying to attract some major shiny company to come into South Carolina because they're going to claim to invest billions of dollars and make thousands of jobs, and we get seduced by that. And listen, there's nothing wrong with companies coming in package that will entice them to invest capital here, to create jobs here, to raise the standard of living here. But we don't need to do it on the backs of taxpayers. And by the way, taxpayers who run businesses who don't get that same treatment.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right.
So for me as governor, what I want to do is I want to create an ecosystem in South Carolina. It doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 50 company or you're a mom and pop working out of a garage. You get the same tax incentives, the same tax benefits. You get the same, we want to grow all businesses, whether you got 5 people or 5,000 people working for you or 50,000 people working for you. So that's what we're going to do in a Wilson administration. Some of the things you can do, just to give you an example, in addition to eliminating the income tax and reforming our property tax structure here, because that increases the cost of doing business, we actually don't have a cap on taxes on companies, on startup companies who have to raise millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in investment capital to get a business off the ground. We tax that capital investment years before they even make any revenue, whereas every other state in the Southeast caps it, meaning, they cap it. So that incentivizes people to come here and raise the money to get small businesses that might be technical businesses or manufacturing businesses or biotech businesses. They come here. It would encourage them to come here because they would not be taxed on all of their on all of the capital they raise just to get their business started. We tax them long before they ever make a profit. And that tells people don't come to our state. And we want to flip the script on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can people find out more about your campaign and maybe even do a little contribution to you?
Well, thank you for asking. WilsonForSC.com, WilsonForsC.com. You can go there and learn about our campaign. You can donate. You can learn about our vision for South Carolina, which is to make living here more affordable for you and your families and more profitable for you and the business you work in.
All right, Attorney General Alan Wilson, always a pleasure, sir. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Not just chatter, local issues that matter. This is the Charlie James Show
on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. text, or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
It boggles the mind. And I've been like this for years now. When I'll see people that'll be friends or Facebook acquaintances or whatever, and they'll go, "Oh my goodness, I can't wait. We're going to Mexico on vacation. Oh, we're going to Mexico on vacation." And in my mind, I always thought, why are you going to Mexico for vacation? I don't understand it. I did never, the only time I've been close to Mexico, when I was a kid, we lived in Texas for a short period of time, and we went down there and we saw the border. It never went into Mexico. When I was in Yuma, a bunch of us were going to go to one of the checkpoints there at the border of Mexico, but we found out that there is a zone there when you get to this particular checkpoint in Yuma where and it's not marked, there's no line, there's no barricades, there's no tape, there's nothing. But when you cross into that zone, they consider you to be committed to leaving the United States, and you have to leave. Now, you can come back if you got your ID or your passport. But if you don't have your passport, that's going to cause an incident. So we didn't go. We backed out of that, and I'm really happy that we did that. But I have never thought about going to Mexico for vacation. And I do believe what happened this weekend really showed why. So the Mexican military killed El Mencho, which is the leader of one of the Jalisco cartels, and all hell broke loose. These cartel members, they were blowing things up. They were setting things on fire. They were trying to shoot people. And that's when people were like, hey, don't y'all remember when Canada had Trump derangement syndrome so bad they were telling people not to vacation in the United States?
Charles Burt and Marilee Mollard are getting advice from their travel agent on where to travel this winter.
So, have you guys decided on where you would like to go?
Well, on the bucket list is Puerto Vallarta.
The Manitoba couple usually spends weeks or even months at a trailer park in Westlaco, Texas, but not this year.
Since the election of Trump and the insults that he placed on our country, 51st date and all of that garbage, we decided that, no, we're not going to spend money down there.
They're not the only ones making that decision. According to the Mexican Ministry of Tourism, the number of Canadians flying to Mexico increased by 11.3% between January and September compared to the year before, an increase of almost 200,000 tourists. Melia Hotels International is seeing it at its 8 Mexican resorts.
When it's not on fire. But now, Puerto Vallarta is burning because of all of these cartels. But it's not just, and we're not talking about your average run-of-the-mill drug dealers. No. We're not talking about those. We're talking about a military organization. The weapons that were seized during the raid that killed El Mencho, those weren't street-level drug dealers. Rocket launchers, you know, the kind that can take down aircraft, punch through armor plating, and that distinction matters, and it should alarm every American. Mexican Special Forces, supported by Air Force aircraft, National Guard rapid reaction units, and complementary intelligence provided by the United States, descended on Tapalpa in the state of Jalisco on Sunday morning. The operation targeted Asuergo Cervantes, the founder and leader of the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion, or CJNG. What the raid left behind: armored vehicles, rocket launchers, anti-aircraft capable, anti-armor capable. This was a military operation. Absolutely. And it's right across our border. The response to his death was immediate, and it was violent. Within hours of the announcement, CJNG loyalists started blocking highways across multiple Mexican states. Vehicles were set on fire and used as barricades. 21 major roads were blocked, 5 of which authorities managed to reopen by last night. 20 branches of the Banco del Bienestar, state-run banking institution, were damaged during the wave of unrest. Smoke could be seen all over Puerto Vallarta. Jalisco Governor Pablo Lemus Navarro didn't mince his public statement, saying, "We were made in code red. We reiterate the recommendations to avoid leaving your homes. The clashes are occurring in several federal entities." Yeah. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Lando weighed in on X, framing the moment as a victory in plain terms. He says, "I've just been informed the Mexican security forces have killed El Mencho, one of the bloodiest and most ruthless gang kingpins. This is a great development for Mexico." But we saw exactly what the response was. Let's go to Wes in Greer. Wes, welcome.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, bud.
You're so right about Mexico, but I had, 20 years ago, I had some business dealings, and everything was down in Mexico. All the actually Takata airbags, the ones that have now infamously blown up and killed so many people.
Right.
Guess where they like to load the explosives into the airbag carrier? They like to do it down in Mexico because there was no OSHA, there was no oversight. So that's where the explosive device was. But we had engineers that were going down there, packaging specialists, and they just about roped me into going down there. Okay, and with every bit of my being, I was like, no. So I don't go. Another gentleman goes. Now, you got to understand, now, nobody's crazy. These are not resort towns, so there are security details. There are people there to keep you safe. You will be kidnapped, okay? I mean, they tell you that, but they tell you, oh, they'll treat you great. They'll feed you. They'll just get back to your company and arrange the money details. But anyway, the guy that went down there, he's there for an entire week, okay? He's getting everything he needs, compiling his data, putting everything on his laptop, and he's got his couple security guys. And right as they get him to the airport, right there at the airport, they drop off with all his belongings.
Oh no!
including his computer. So he's standing there with basically nothing. And I just remember that, as being like, it's the wild, wild west down there. But, over the years, we had many employees and people that had come here legally.
Yeah.
One guy who I respected who told me point blank, there's no difference. Okay. He said, it's the government and the cartel is the same thing.
Exactly.
It's just a question of who's pulling the strings on one side or the other. I mean, now maybe it's not that way with Trump. Maybe Trump's aware of it. This is the pressure. But that's a viper's nest down there, and that is the key to getting everything in our country.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Even President Trump, I mean, he told Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, he said, "Listen, you got to go after these cartels," and she was like, "Nope, can't do it. Not going to do it." We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the program. We will head to the WORD talk line, and we'll talk with Ron in Easler. How you doing, Ron?
I'm fine, Charlie. How are you?
I'm good, bud. What's going on?
What I want to do, bring up something I heard you mention, the Playboy and the God's Gift to Women, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Ago. You know, I looked him up in online and just kind of doing a little research on that old fella, and he's in the back pockets of billionaires and millionaires. That's the only reason why he's Gavin Newsom got a job as a governor out there.
Yeah, his family were real big friends with the Gettys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy actually tried to claim that he was raised on Kool-Aid and macaroni and cheese and played basketball all day. Like he's some sort of a street kid.
I got a word for that. He's full of fit.
Yeah, you are right about that, Ron. Oh, and it gets better than that. You think Gavin Newsom saying that he could not find or he hasn't seen his birth certificate since he was 7 years old, you think that was bad? Coming up in just a little bit, I'm going to tell you what else he said that raised a lot of people's eyebrows, but it says everything you need to know about the Democrat Party. Now, speaking of IDs, that's the new narrative from the Democrats. Oh, you go. Charlie, you can't ask someone to have their ID. Nobody knows where the birth certificate is. It's impossible. You can't even find it. I just told you. I did it. I went online, wanted to find out exactly how long and what it would take for me to get my birth certificate. For me to fill out all of the forms took about a minute. I went all the way up to the point where I had to pay, where it said check out, before I stopped. It took about a minute. That was it. So everybody found it extremely ironic that Zohran Mamdani was looking for snow shovelers. I mean, as if, okay, so he is running that city so well that he's looking for people to come in and shovel snow. Come in and shovel snow. And I think they're going to pay him like $19, $20, some people say $30 an hour. But let's just take a listen to old Zohran Mamdani here real quick.
We're utilizing 33 DSNY vans and 2 DSNY buses to transport shovelers where they're needed faster. And for those who want to do more to help your neighbors and earn some extra cash, you too can become an emergency snow shoveler. Just show up at your local sanitation garage between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow with your paperwork, which is accessible online at nyc.gov/snow, and you can get started right away.
Well, not really. Because in order to do all of that, you know what you have to have? 5 different forms of ID. 5 different forms of ID, ladies and gentlemen, to go be a emergency snow shoveler in New York City. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? It really is. So this woman over online, Lizzie, I think it's Savatsky, she's over on TikTok. She said, I'm going to go be a snow shoveler for New York City. Let's take a listen, see how that went.
A big snowstorm coming today, and our mayor says that we need emergency snow shovelers.
If you'd like to sign up to be a paid snow shoveler, you can go to any DSNY garage from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday.
I saw that the mayor said that we were supposed to report for duty between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. today for emergency snow shoveling.
Yeah, not yet.
Why?
No, it's not yet. I think the earliest that we can put you out there is 8 p.m. tonight.
It's $20 an hour.
I think it's actually higher now. I believe it's $30 an hour.
If I have a snowblower and I can do the work of 3 to 4 people, can I get paid more?
I don't think so.
I thought we could just tax the rich. Need 2 forms of ID? What happens if I only have 1?
You need 2 forms to sign up.
One from this side and one from this side.
It's so interesting because they want to tell us we don't need ID to vote, but we need 2 forms of ID to shovel, you know? Do I need to print the photos out? I have to print those.
Yes.
What if I don't have a printer?
You go to CVS.
Okay, thank you. We got here, our mayor said to show up at the garage at 8 a.m. I was just told inside that I have to come back at 8 p.m. and that my shovel is outdated, but they have another one waiting for me, new model. They're gonna hold on to it for me. I have to come back with the proper attire, 2 forms of ID, a social security card, 2 photos printed out, get paid $30 an hour.
So that's what that boy. If it were just, but listen. Thankfully, you don't have to do all of that if you want to vote in New York City. You don't even have to show up with any ID to vote in New York City. You just have to give a fake name in New York City. Isn't that amazing? So you got to have 2 different forms of ID, plus you got to have photographs, and you got to have all of that printed off in order to go there online or in person to do. So, yeah, hypocrisy, a lot of it going on with the left. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Keeping Carolina conservative. It's the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. happen, type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I love this. Charlie, I think you're missing the point on why they don't want you to have a birth certificate or an ID. The major reason is that all of the illegals will not be able to get a birth certificate in the United States, and they can't vote. They need it for the votes. I have not missed that point. I have reiterated that point constantly. What I am highlighting now is the lies and the hypocrisy of the folks on the left. Oh, no, Charlie does not miss the point. You need to understand that. He does not miss the point. Yesterday was an anniversary, and it was not a good one. It was, well, we'll let President Trump tell you.
In just a few moments, I officially sign a proclamation that I've been waiting to sign for a long time, including my first administration. There were so many different legal roadblocks, it was incredible. We got it done. And I'm doing it today. February 22nd is going to be National Angel Family Day. Very important. So many incredible family members and friends, parents and children. On February 22nd, 2 years ago, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Hope Riley went out for a run on a college campus in Georgia. Laken was viciously attacked, brutally beaten, and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who the last administration heartlessly released into our country.
And they did. 2 years ago yesterday, Laken Riley was murdered by an illegal alien that the Biden administration and liberal judges just simply let go. They let him go. And he committed this heinous crime. But so President Trump is designating February the 22nd as Angel Families Day. Do you know what an angel mom is? A lot of people don't know what an angel mom is, and there's a reason for that. Do you remember during President Trump's address to the joint session of Congress that he had, where he highlighted Laken Riley's family, he highlighted the Nungaray family, he highlighted all of these angel families. And do you remember what the Democrats did? They did nothing. They sat on their gelatinous buttocks and ignored those families. They didn't stand. They didn't turn to face them. They did not applaud. They stood silent. These were families who had lost children and loved ones to illegal aliens, and the Democrats did nothing. I've spoken with many angel moms. These stories are heartbreaking, and there are a lot of them out there. But angel moms, you need to know one thing. The folks on the left side of the aisle, they don't support you. They don't care about you. They don't love you. Their hearts don't go out to you. Their sympathies do not head your way. They don't care. The loss of your child or loved one, that was just collateral damage for something that they want to happen, and that's get these illegals into our country. Well, at least this president is not ignoring people like Laken Riley's mom, Allison Phillips.
This is unexpected, but I think that a lot of people feel like that President Trump is maybe different than the version I've gotten to know. And I just can't thank you enough. You have said from the beginning, literally the day after this happened, that you would not forget about Lakin. You weren't president at that time, and you have not forgotten. You have fought a fight that most people would not want to have to fight. Most people wouldn't. They would just say it's just easier not to do this. And President Trump you are doing a thankless job that most people just wouldn't do.
And she's exactly right. Exactly right. This is Angel Dad, Steve Ronenbeck.
Somebody took their foot off the brakes and put their foot on the accelerator to let these people into our country. And it wasn't just regular people. It was criminals. It was murderers, killers, rapists. And now today, we are finally going to see that somebody's going to remember all of our loved ones. They're going to remember the names, and they're going to remember what we've all been through.
Remember their names. Remember when Joe Biden didn't even know the name of Laken Riley? When Marjorie Taylor Greene was screaming, say her name, and he called her Lincoln Riley. Somebody is going to remember. But then you wonder, Charlie, wait a minute. Why haven't I heard about these families? Why haven't these families been highlighted more? Well, listen to what President Trump says.
11,888 murderers were allowed into our country by the Biden administration. These are the angel families that we love, that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored, and I've seen it. When I first got involved with the angel families, I had a meeting. It was so sad. And they got up and spoke, and the media literally just turned off the cameras. They didn't want to hear them. It was my first glimpse as to what was happening.
Yeah, they don't even want to acknowledge that these people exist. They don't want to humanize the victims of illegal aliens. They don't want, the Laken Riley case, that was a big case because, people were looking for her and all of that. And then they found her body, unfortunately, and she was brutally assaulted by this illegal alien. And then when the mainstream media was like, hold on, wait a minute. This was a big story until they found out that it didn't look all that good for the illegal alien community. And then what did the mainstream media do? Once everybody was like, see, this is the reason. This is why we don't let gangbangers in. This is why we don't let murderers in. This is why we don't let rapists in. Then what did the mainstream media do? They squashed the story. They quit covering it. They went on to something else. And they have not covered another death extensively by an illegal alien since. And that's the truth. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, it's Tara. I do the homework and give you the facts every morning starting at 6 on The Tara Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk. Charlie. Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the program. Let's go to Ken in Nebo and talk to him about Jacob Bridgman winning on the PGA Tour. How you doing, Ken?
Oh, boy, howdy. Yeah, hadn't seen you in a while, Charlie.
Yes,
but,
sir.
I imagine that you had that on your TV, didn't you?
Absolutely. My wife and I were sitting there glued to it watching Jacob Bridgman win that tournament at the Genesis yesterday. Something Tiger Woods never did, by the way.
Yeah, but he sure, his life changed a lot in the last 60 days. You know, being a Clemson grad. I think he got married there about a month ago and married his sweetheart out of Clemson. I didn't know that was part of the local story till they interviewed him.
Yeah.
But, you know, I watched Saturday and then Sunday yesterday. And, you know, I'm pulling for the underdogs all the time. I said, oh, man, I hope he wins that thing and pulls out. Well, he started out with, a 6-shot lead.
7-stroke lead, actually, at one point, and he won by 1.
Yeah, and it got interesting, you know, and inevitably, when you get in those close ones like that, even with all the pros that are lined up behind one another, as they get closer to 18, everything tightens up a little bit and it gets a little tougher. But, you know, when you come down to it, I kept saying, as we watched that lead drop, we got down to the 16th, 17th, and it dropped to 2-shot lead, 1-shot lead. And then he had that par 4, 500 yard. What a hole.
Oh, that was massive,
18th.
yeah.
And, but he hit all his shots right. But he left himself, you know, with that long, he hit his next to last putt.
Yeah, the birdie, he hit the birdie putt way short, about 3.5 feet short.
Yeah, about 3 feet, 4 inches. And you know right there, what do you think, Charlie? You got how many millions people watching the PGA? You got a $4 million payoff that you probably thought of a little bit.
Plus bonus.
He had kept his cool all the way through that tournament and doggedly was hitting straight shots. But you know how hard it would have been for the average person to step up there.
Oh,
and
impossible.
I'm saying, you know, in the back of our minds, we're saying that's way too much pressure for him to make that shot.
So much. It was so much. I appreciate it, Ken. You're exactly right. So congratulations, Jacob Bridgman from Inman, who won his first PGA Tour event, and it was at the Genesis. All right. Do you know what a privateer is? A privateer is kind of the opposite of a pirate. And it had a big place in American history. I'll tell you about that coming up in just a second. But the reason that I am bringing that up is because Representative Tim Burchett has got a really good idea.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett. This morning I was noticing that the cartels have been acting up like they do. They burn up a Costco down in Mexico, and they've taken over areas, possibly airports. I'm not sure about all that, but they've now, and Americans are down there, of course, and they're in harm's way. And what can be done? Well, I had a bill, it's still out there. Can't seem to get it moved anywhere, which is unfortunate. Myself and Senator Lee has it on the Senate side. It's called Letters of Marque, and it's actually provided for in the Constitution that the president can get privateers, and it's happened throughout history a few times. I believe they went after Barbary pirates, which later became the United States Marine Corps, if I believe what happened there. And what it does is allows the president to hire privateers, and these would be, you know, like I said before, they're not going to go down here to Roosters on North Shore or Toddy's Backdoor Tavern on Kingston Pike and sign people up. They're going to go get first-tier operators, former SEALs, former airborne rangers, folks like that, Marine.
I think it's a great idea. I think it is a great idea. Using privateers once again. We used them heavily during the War of 1812. Did you know that during the War of 1812, privateers captured over 1,000 British ships? Over 1,000. British ships. And how did they do that? Now, this is another little piece of history here. They used it by using false flags. You might wonder where that term false flag comes from. That comes from privateers, where they would be they wouldn't be flying the United States flag or anything like that. They would basically just make up a flag. They would be flying it. The British would not realize that they were privateers from the United States, and they were able to capture 1,000 ships. Here in the United States, we had some very famous privateers. We have Jonathan Harridan. We've got Gustav Cunningham, Thomas Boyle, Joshua Barney, Prince de Neuchâtel, Captain Ardonneux. It was a private schooner of the Prince de Neuchâtel, and they mattered. Again, in the War of 1812, American privateers seized 1,000 British merchant vessels, putting economic pressure on Britain. And that's how we were able to win that war. Let's go to Sean in 96. Sean, welcome.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, pal. What's up?
You were talking about the gentleman that won the PGA tournament?
Yeah, Jacob Bridgman.
Yes. Well, in my younger days, I actually had my pro bowler's card. I bowled in a bunch of regional tournaments.
Right.
And Sunday, they actually had history made. He was a graduate of Wichita State, which is very well known for pro bowlers.
Yeah.
And he was the number 4 seed. He beat 3 left-handers, and then E.J. Tackett, which is right now number 1 worldwide bowler. He beat him, and not just for the $100,000. He actually threw a 300 game on TV.
Oh, wow.
Which is only the 5th time that's ever happened.
Really?
So it was I got to watch it on TV, and it was just amazing.
That's so. What kind of average do you have to get your pro card now?
Back when I got my card, you had to have a 220 average in 2 leagues and 2 different houses.
How about that?
And I had my card for 15 years, and then I had some injuries to my shoulder, so I gave it up. I still bowl once in a while, not like I used to, but
oh, cool. Oh, good for you.
I'll tell you what,
I got a lot of.
It's amazing.
Yeah, to throw a 300 game on television, I appreciate it, Sean. Yeah, I play golf with a lot of bowlers out there, and they absolutely love it. First time I ever bowled, I bowled a 116. First time I ever touched a bowling ball, I bowled a 116. And then everybody was telling me how hard that was to do, and I never got anywhere close to that again. Beginner's luck. That's exactly what that was. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Grit, truth, and a whole lot of common sense. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, it's called casual racism. The left always wants to call us racist. They want to call Donald Trump racist. They want to call everything is racist. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but there was a story out that said that whole milk is racist. I don't know how or why, but that's the story. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this is that casual racism of the people on the left, the ones that claim to be not racist. Gavin Newsom was speaking at practically an all-black event over the weekend, and I want you to listen to what Gavin the Hairdo Newsom said. And just think about this for a second. Here we go. He's talking to an all-black crowd.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech. Because I cannot read a speech.
Because I'm just like you. I'm just like you. Did you hear what he said? I'm just like you. I got a 960 on my SATs. I can't read because I know you people can't read either. Really? Now, oh my gosh. So is that going to be the 2028 platform of Gavin Newsom? I'm an idiot just like you. Vote for Gavin. He's stupid too. How about that? I mean, that'd be a great platform right there. You might have to talk to the folks at Big Lou, for that, the phrasing there. Hey, talk to Gavin. He's stupid too. Might as well vote. Well, oh my gosh. So Nicki Minaj went down hard against Gavin Newsom after he told the black crowd that I'm like you, I can't read. He said his way of bonding with black people is to tell them how stupid he is and that he can't read. This means my first read on him was correct. He's been handed so many things and put in high positions that he's never earned or deserved. Do you want to know the craziest part of this footage that will haunt him forever? He's literally slowing his speech down and talking in a sporadic cadence. He's not just telling them that they're all probably stupid and probably can't read. He's literally slowing down his speech to make them understand the words that are coming out of his mouth as if they're children. That means he really believes they're slow. He's not just saying it. He didn't misspeak. He believes it. Gosh, it's like we've seen this before, isn't it?
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
That was Hillary Clinton. But we've seen it time and but Donald Trump, when he speaks to you in exactly the same way as he speaks to everybody else. But these people always want to change their accent. They want to change their voices. They want to slow down their cadence. They want to do it because they believe, I guess they're going to think it's going to make them more relatable. There was a 2018 Yale study. I want you to listen to this.
I used to be pretty woke. I had the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome. I thought everybody who voted for Donald Trump was a racist. All that changed when I encountered a Yale study in 2018. The study found that there was a difference between how white liberals and white conservatives talk when they talk to black people. And when I saw the headline, I was jubilant. We got 'em. That's what I thought. Turns out the opposite was true. The study found that when white liberals talk to black people, they do something called presenting lower competence. They dumb down their vocabulary using fewer syllables than they do when they talk to white people. And white conservatives don't do this. I remember seeing the study and thinking with horror, and we liberals call conservatives racist? What could be more racist than the patronizing view that black people need to be protected from our big vocabularies? Yet it was this patronizing view that minorities are oppressed and in need of saving that I could suddenly see was at play in much of the progressive worldview. It caused me to think, well, if I'm wrong about conservatives being racist, what else might I be wrong about?
Well, liberals are wrong about a lot of stuff. So presenting lower competence. What a perfect example of that, not only with what Gavin Newsom said, but also with going out and getting an ID. Let's go to John in Marietta. John, welcome.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
I'm good, pal. What's going on?
I just want to let you know why the liberals don't know where their birth certificates are, and why people like you and me do.
Why is that?
Well, my birth certificate, my wife's birth certificate, and all of my children's birth certificates are in our family Bible.
That's
because
a good point.
They don't have family Bibles.
Yeah.
They don't know where theirs are.
I got no place to
where
put
my
them.
family Bible is.
Yeah,
That's right. And the other thing is, if asking minorities to have to produce an ID in order to vote, and you got to go to the DMV. Last time I was at the DMV, there's a lot of minorities behind the counter.
Yeah.
Handing out IDs. So if it's so racist, then why are the minorities being racist against minorities to hand out
the IDs? You're exactly right, John. Exactly.
It's an oxymoron.
It really is. I appreciate it, buddy. Again. But that's it. That's that casual racism, the presenting lower competence when dealing with African Americans or people of any color. It doesn't matter. That's what the liberals do. They always do it every single time without fail or exception. Gavin Newsom. Hey, I'm a 960 guy just like you. I can't read. Oh, how many non-readers we got here? Anybody? You never seen me read a speech. I'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of non-stop breaking news and stimulating talk jumpstarts every hour on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9
WORD,
the voice of the Carolinas.
Interact on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. Let's go to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Oysterman in Traveler's Rest. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well. Hadn't talked to you in a while.
Yes,
so
sir.
Just wanted to let you know, PSA is almost negligible on the cancer. I'm seeing my first 6-month visit next month.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
Anyway, yep. And I didn't have to have anything else done, so I've got me I am a veteran. I'm a cancer survivor. Don't underestimate me.
There you
But
go.
anyway, I was listening to you just a minute ago in that last segment about the fact that they're trying to, the way I say it, they talk down to everybody.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
dumb down and
Sure.
all that. And I heard a story this weekend. I've got a grandson going to Clemson. I wish he could have gone to one of the 10 colleges I went to when I was in the military, but he just couldn't get there.
Yeah.
But anyway, found out that he was actually helping the professor teach the students because they couldn't understand what the professor was saying, and the professor couldn't understand what to say to the students.
So he was an interpreter?
Hey, something like that.
Yeah.
But they have, the president's quarter, whatever it is that on the president honor roll or
Yeah,
whatever
right,
they have
yeah.
at colleges and all that. Well, he was actually submitted by name for another type of award that might get him some financial help.
Oh, that's all. That's
And
great
we can-
news.
And we can't figure out who it was unless it was that professor because you have to be recommended.
How about that? It sounds like you are nothing but good news this afternoon, Oysterman.
I am.
That's
I am.
awesome.
And the thing is, I've got me a new scheduler coming from Amazon. I know they're making more money than anybody right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's got birds on a tree.
Yeah.
I feel better than a bird on a tree flying in this wind.
That sounds good. I appreciate it, Oysterman. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it happened.
Now Jack Hughes pokes it around the car. United States with numbers. Back across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold. Jack Hughes beating Jordan Bennington.
The United States men's hockey team won gold in the Olympics, not to diminish the accomplishment of the United States women's hockey team also winning gold, but this was a huge win for the hockey team representing the United States. So Kash Patel was over in Italy, and he was celebrating with the men's hockey team in the locker room, and Kash Patel did what a man does in those situations. He chugged a beer right there in the locker room. I mean, that thing was bottoms up. Good for you, Kash Patel. You're a man. You're a guy. You do what guys do. So I was reading today that a lot of people are having some issues with Kash Patel drinking a beer in the locker room after the United States won gold. And some of these comments actually came from people who proclaim to be conservatives. Oh, I can't believe they did it. Oh, you know what? If you've got a problem with Kash Patel chugging a beer in the locker room, you probably also get cramps once a month. I'll just say that. That's just the way it is. All right? You might want to take care of that. Why don't you get your testosterone checked? All right? Because that's what men do. That's what men do. So, Jack Hughes scored that goal, and he was not one of these people who was not proud to be playing for the United States. No, quite the contrary. Jack Hughes, very proud.
This is all about our country right now. I love the USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we have so much support from ex-players. I'm so proud to be American today.
This was such an incredible game to grind out. I mean, you're bleeding right through it just looking at you right now. Can you just talk about how difficult this gold medal was to win?
Unbelievable game by Hellebuck. He was our best player tonight by a mile. Unbelievable game. Unreal game by our team. That's just a ballsy, gutsy win. That's American hockey right there. That's a great Canadian team, but we're USA. We're so proud to be Americans. Tonight was all for the country.
What does this gold medal mean to USA Hockey?
It's everything. Like I said, the USA Hockey Brotherhood means so much. Look at these guys. We're such a team. We've been together for 2 weeks. We're such a team. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we're so proud to win for our country.
So proud to win. Standing there, tooth knocked out, cracked actually, snapped off tooth, bleeding from the mouth, giving it that. Ugh. But you know what, Charlie? Kash Patel drank a beer in the locker room, and I don't think that's very appropriate. I don't think that's very appropriate. I have to go watch Days of Our Lives now. I can't believe that grown men would actually be criticizing Kash Patel. That's pretty unbelievable. Yeah, definitely want to check yourself on that one. Let's go to Lucas in Piedmont. Lucas, welcome.
Charlie, I can't believe he would actually drink a beer because drinking is just so disgusting.
I know. That was the sentiment. He shouldn't be representing this country like that.
Of course, Charlie. But, first off, congratulations to the men and women's hockey teams.
Yep.
For getting the gold both.
Yeah.
And of course, if you played more of that video where it was a really humbling, down-to-earth, celebratory gathering, the president offered to fly both the teams back to the United States for tomorrow's State of the Union address.
Absolutely.
Meet with them and personally shake their hands, congratulate them. But getting back onto the issue that's not really an issue. The people who are complaining have a problem with Kash Patel drinking a beer. Oh my God, he's human.
Right.
Because who out there, whoever went to college or whoever went to a party, didn't actually, smoke something or have a beer, have a little bit too much alcohol because, everybody has done their share. How many photos have we got of past presidents smoking or drinking or throwing up a middle finger or, in one of the previous administrations, I didn't inhale.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's kind of that same eye roll kind of response that we get with, if you follow the Department of War, Department of Defense on any social media, and, all the comments are people plastering about, keg's breath and all that fun stuff. Because,
right.
Hey, at least the man was, humble enough to admit that he had a drinking problem in the past. But I guess now we're going to throw anybody who's got addiction or whatever under the bus because they obviously can't overcome it if you're on one political side of the aisle. How about we get off our high horses about some people's issues or showing a human side of them?
Yeah.
And actually, celebrate that we're all human, we're all infallible. And two, if somebody had a problem in their past and they overcame it and they're doing better from it, give them the props and the congratulations they deserve because that's not easy for anybody.
Exactly right. You're right, Lucas. I appreciate it. We'll take a quick break. And somebody said they should have drank milk. But wait a minute. That might have been racist. I'll tell you why coming up next. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
stepped into the Upstate Talk Octagon. A few left jabs and a lot of right uppercuts. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So, yeah, there was some people that were upset that Kash Patel drank a beer. And one person said, well, Charlie, you should have just drank milk. And yeah, to the texter who sent me, I say drank milk. I don't say, yes, I should have drunk a milk. Have you drunk a milk today? Will you be drunking a milk? No, I say drank. I don't care what it is. So anyway, but if they had drank milk, that might have been considered racist. Now, I know what's going on through your head. You're saying, Charlie, how in the world could drinking milk be considered racist? Well, for that, we're going to have to go to Democrat Representative Maxine Dexter.
Please ask for the science-based regimens, not whatever RFK Jr. is getting kickbacks on, or whatever whole milk, white supremacy, dog whistling that's happening right now. I'm getting a little too political, but
a whole milk, dog whistling, white supremacy. I'm trying to think of how the heck whole milk. Did you see what she was alluding to? She was alluding to the fact that RFK Jr., maybe some people in the Maha crowd, were getting kickbacks from the dairy industry to push whole milk. But notice they've always left something out, and they've continuously left something out for years and years and years. And that was how many kickbacks Democrats got from Big Pharma. The people that sell the treatment but never the cure. The people whose treatments actually, one of the worst things, I just read a report on statin drugs. Oh, my gosh. If I could tell you how many times my old nurse practitioner wanted me to go on statins and I never would do it. You got to go on statins. You got to go on antidepressants. If I were still seeing that woman, to be like, you got to go on GLP-1. I was reading the other day about how GLP-1 works. Do you know how this works? It's hideous. I'm getting a little sidetracked here, but I'll go ahead with it. When you eat a meal, that food will sit in your stomach for about 4 hours before it goes into your intestines, right? And that's where it gets digested, liquefied. It goes into your intestines, and the intestines, the large and the small, they're the ones that extract all the nutrients out of it, and they send it to the liver and the spleen and the pancreas and all that stuff. When you take GLP-1, your food could sit in your stomach for 24 hours. I'm no doctor, but I know the body was designed for you to eat that food. It's supposed to sit in there for about 4 hours and then move on. To me, nope, thank you. Thank you, no. Not going to do that. But anyway, let's get back to the whole white milk or whole milk being racist. You see, everything is racist to these folks, except for actual racism. And we see the actual racism from the people on the left. We all remember Hillary Clinton saying this with Charlemagne. Wait a minute, where are you? Hold on. I don't know why I did that, but here we go.
He said, no, she has to go.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, Swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now, listen, I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Okay. Is it working?
Yeah. Is it working? Because I'm darn sure going to be pandering to black people. Darn sure am. You know what I'd ask? Let's see it. You got it in your purse? You don't always travel with hot sauce. You are so lily white, you don't even use hot sauce. And then we remember this guy.
And let's say one thing to rest. I may be a practicing Catholic. I used to go to 7:30 Mass every morning in high school and then in college. before I went to the black church. Not a joke. Andy knows this.
No, Andy didn't know that because that was another lie from the folks on the left. And then you get old Gavin Newsom speaking to a primarily black audience.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
Because I'm just as dumb as you are. Hey, all right, well, there you go. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Giving the left heartburn. Afternoons 3 to 7. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk. Charlie? Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the old show here. Let's go to Chuck in Mills River. What's going on, my man?
Man, I got a problem with Cash Patel drinking a beer, chugging a beer, man.
Do you now?
That should have been Crown Royal, man. It should have been Crown Royal. Because, they're moving down here because Trump, last I heard, the tariffs forced them down here. I don't know if they're making it here or not, but that would have been a thumb in the eye of the Canadians.
I don't know how much Crown Royal you'll find in a hockey locker room.
I bet there's
I'm
more
not
than
sure.
you think.
Maybe so. It might be.
Well, it's better than Molson Golden. I mean, come on.
Isn't that the truth? I don't even know. What was it, a Sam Adams or something? I think somebody said. I'm not sure, though.
I don't know what he drank. I actually got to see, I stayed home from church yesterday. Wasn't feeling well. Got to actually watch the whole thing. And I'm not a big hockey fan, except for the fights. You know how I love a fight, Charlie.
Yeah, I know you like it.
And there were a few of those.
Yeah.
But when we came out there in sudden death and it was a minute and 44 seconds. That's all it took. It took 3 quarters or three whatever periods.
Yeah.
I'd have found a better name for it than that because it's a manly sport. But and then it took them a minute and 44 seconds to finally win.
Yeah.
I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
And how they responded was as American as it was. None of this mealy mouth. I'm an LGBTQ person and I can't get along with the.
Jack Hughes was great.
It was like
Jack Hughes was smashed tooth, bleeding from the mouth. He was out there. I mean, just like I love this country and American hockey is the greatest. I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a great speech by Jack Hughes.
Well, and one thing, I actually met JJ and John yesterday.
Did you?
Hang out and work on there. Yes, I did. What a swell couple of fellows, just as nice as you'd think they were. If you talked to them on the phone, it was spectacular. But the whole problem with the Democrat Party right now, well, not there's plenty, but they want to stop good people like John and JJ and Chuck from getting together and having a good time, helping each other out.
Yeah.
Doing whatever they can for each other and making a better world. People just really need. They really need to get over this thing of trying to divide black folks and white folks and people in general. Now, that's different from some of the other groups in that cabal. But I had just a spectacular time. Not that I would have expected any less.
Right.
Just because color has nothing to do with it. He's a good man. John and JJ both. Good fellows. We sat around, messed around on his car, tried to get it running, get his horn running, and couldn't do it, didn't have the right part, but that's okay.
There you go.
My problem is they're good people, and there's a whole party of people that don't want people like us getting along.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Us at each other's throat.
Yep.
And that's just sad.
It really is. It really is.
Sad.
Very sad.
But anyway, yeah, man, it was really cool, and we'll talk to y'all later, man.
Yes, I appreciate it, Chuck.
Appreciate you, bud.
Thank you, pal. Now, USA winning gold. Not only the women's, but the men's hockey team winning gold. And this is and I feel kind of bad about this because I've been involved in, let me just say this. I know practically nothing about hockey. I know almost nothing about hockey. But I was involved. I used to go to the hockey games in Augusta when we had the Augusta Lynx. Then when I was working in Columbia, they had the Columbia Inferno. I got involved with that team a little bit. But I haven't really done anything with the Swamp Rabbits here. I want to go to a Swamp Rabbit games soon. But anyway, so when I was in Columbia with the Columbia Inferno, you guys that go to hockey games, there's a thing called Chuck-a-Puck. All right, so you get these foam rubber pucks, and they'll count you, the arena announcer will count you down. They'll say, all right, 3, 2, 1, and everybody throws their numbers on the puck, and you've got the number, right? That number's under your name. So you throw the puck to center ice, and whatever puck comes closest to center ice, you win a prize, Okay? It's a pretty cool thing. So I got the idea that instead of Chuck-a-Puck, we were going to do Chuck-a-Puck at Charlie. So I decided, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down on center ice. I'm going to put on a goalie glove, and whoever puck I caught, that person was going to win a prize. Sounded like a great idea. Now, if you've ever had about 7,000 orange foam rubber pucks coming to you at the same time, I'm going to tell you it is a surreal experience. It's probably one of the most terrifying moments of my life. And then, as I was on center ice, I realized I should probably be wearing a cup. But I was not doing that. And I should say, I walked off the ice a lot more gingerly than I walked on the ice. It was a very painful I learned. I did it another time, and it was just as frightening that time, too. So you hockey fans out there, I know it was a great, great experience for you guys to see the United States win. Well, we know what's going on down in Mexico. The cartels, they have been showing their rear ends after El Mincho was killed by the Mexican military. But I want to take you back about a year. It's about a year ago, less than a year ago, actually, because you remember when President Trump designated the cartels as terrorist organizations. Well, CNN decided to go down to Mexico, and CNN decided that they were going to interview some cartel members. Now, they didn't ask them about the drugs. They didn't ask them about the murders. They didn't ask them about the corruption and the bribery and the kidnapping. They asked them about how Trump made them feel.
According to the Trump administration, you are a terrorist. I mean, the cartels have been labeled a foreign terrorist organization. What do you make of that?
Está fea la situación, ¿verdad? Está fea la situación, pero pues todos tenemos que comer.
What's your message to Donald Trump if he's watching this?
Mis respetos, él tiene que.
Oh, my goodness. No. Forget all about all the horrible. Forget that they killed their enemies by tying them to a tree and burning them alive with flamethrowers. No, forget about all that. So tell me, Mr. Cartel member, how did Donald Trump make you feel? Did he hurt your feelings when he called you a terrorist? Please tell us. And they're still on the air. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, this is Charlie.
Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Yeah, sorry, Canada. Canada losing to the U.S. I know, it's so sad, isn't it? Well, there you go. You get what you get. Lots to talk about Canada. Is a couple of years ago, well, during the first Trump administration, I was still down in Charleston, and I heard about a couple down there called Rachel and who was it? Wait a minute, hold on. I've got the names wrong here. Robin and Heather Vargas. Robin and Heather Vargas. They were from West Ashley, which is a little community west of the Ashley River in Charleston. And they decided they were going to move to Canada because Robin and Heather Vargas did not like President Trump's immigration policy. Yes, they were talking about it way back then. So they decided they were going to move to Canada. And there's a big story about them in the Post and Courier because the Post and Courier is so liberal. But in that story, they actually pointed something out that I found extremely interesting. And that is, in order for Robin and Heather Vargas to move to Canada, they had to meet certain requirements. Number one, they had to show that they had command of the English language. Number two, they had to have money in the bank for living expenses. Number three, they could not go on government assistance. And number four, they had to go through a full background check in order to move to Canada. And I was thinking the whole time, because remember, they moved there because they didn't like the president's immigration policy. And I was thinking, I said at the time, I was like, man, if only we required all of that here in the United States, things would be so much better. Oh, and they had to show they had job prospects as well. So you just couldn't move there. So, in fact, the requirements to move to Canada for a United States citizen was a lot more stringent than we required of aliens coming here. And I thought that was incredibly interesting. And not only that, I found it extremely hypocritical. But that's not the only people that have moved to Canada. There was a leftist that announced she was going to move to Canada back on, I believe it was December 3rd. December 3rd, this leftist moved to live in Canada. Well, she just posted a new video. I think this one came out a few days ago, but I want you to listen to what she says.
I'm a scholar of the far right who has fled the United States to Canada.
Okay. I'm a scholar of the far right who has fled the United States, escaped the United States for Canada. Here we go.
I'm a scholar of the far right who has fled the United States to Canada, and I need help.
What?
The situation in Canada is absolutely dire. For Americans who don't know, the housing crisis here is worse than in the United States.
Wow.
I lived in LA for 6 years, and I have not faced rent as bad as here.
Wow.
When my partner, our cat, and our dog fled the United States, we headed north with the goal of being close to where our families are located, which is on the West Coast. So we are now in British Columbia.
Okay.
More specifically, we are in the Sea to Sky Highway in the Greater Vancouver area. We
Nobody
are
cares.
attempting to find housing in this, the western side of this region. My partner and I are here on a visitor visa,
Okay.
which is a 6 months possible stay for Americans.
This is where it gets really interesting. Are you ready?
But while you're here on a visitor visa, you can't work.
What?
So we are currently surviving off of what savings we could get together before we fled the United States. And that's not terribly much.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready for this part? Here we go.
And in Canada, I think it's actually the cost of living crisis is worse here, especially when you are shut out of the healthcare system,
What?
when you can't access any of the resources that Canadians have access to.
Really?
And that's understandable.
Oh,
you
it's
know, I'm not a
understandable.
citizen of the country, but it is.
Oh, did you hear what she said? If you're cut off from the healthcare system, if you're cut off from the employment system, it's understandable because you're not a citizen.
I think it's actually the cost of living crisis is worse here, especially when you are shut out of the healthcare system, when you can't access any of the resources that Canadians have access to, and that's understandable. You know,
It's understandable. Oh my goodness, it's understandable when a non-citizen doesn't have access to the government dole. Oh, amazing.
No, I'm not a citizen of the country, but it is making the financial situation dire because we can't work. Because there are 2 adults, a cat and a dog. We are looking for more than a room, but a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom for free or below market rates. And I know that's a huge ask.
Yeah.
But that's what we need. Canadians have been asking where I'm located and what I need.
Oh my gosh. Oh my word. Fled the United States because of Donald Trump. Now remember, this is a scholar of the far right. She announced herself, I'm a scholar of the far right. And then she gets to Canada and she's amazed. More than amazed, she's okay with the fact that she's not allowed to work and she's shut out of the healthcare system. Oh my word. If you got, I wonder is there another country that allows aliens to come in and work and be a part of the health? Yeah, that was us. Maybe you ought to be studying Canada instead of the far right, young lady. Is this hypocrisy mind-boggling? You got the Vargases from West Ashley. They had to go through all of that to get to Canada. Now you got this lady, one of them lesbians, and her partner moving to Canada. And you can't get a job because you're not a citizen. Oh, you can't get health care because you're not a citizen. Wow. That's some radical thinking there, babe. Unbelievable. It really, really is. But what got me was what she said. That's understandable. Yeah, we completely understand that. How much you want to bet? I don't even know who this woman is. But how much you want to bet? She's one of those people that believes that illegal aliens should have access to health care. Wait a minute, hold on. I thought health care was a universal right. I thought everybody was supposed to get health care. Huh? You think so? I'm telling you, they really are. They really are. They're brain dead. They're so driven by just the fact that their TDS, their Trump derangement syndrome, has overtaken them so much, they don't even hear what they're saying. Pretty amazing. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
The men's United States hockey team will be at the State of the Union tomorrow, which you can hear right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD. That coverage, I believe, starts at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So who's not going to be there? Oh, a lot of Democrats are. I know. I'm brokenhearted about it, too. The fact that all these Democrats are going to be boycotting the State of the Union tomorrow night. I don't know what I'm going to do. Might as well not even watch it. Please. Nobody cares. I think it will be a better State of the Union if the Democrats don't show up. I hope none of them show up. I hope President Trump walks in, just looks over to the right side and says, I'm talking to you guys. Here is what we have done. Tomorrow night, he's going to lay out exactly all the successes of his administration in our economy. Now, this is stuff that doesn't get out there by the mainstream media because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know the jobs that were brought back. They don't want you to know how well the tariffs were working, which, by the way, those tariffs aren't going anywhere. They're not. They're just going to use different vehicles to get them where they need to be. That's all. It's just a momentary hiccup. The economy's better. Price of eggs is down. Price of gas is down. Price of milk is down. Price of all of this stuff is down. And he's going to lay that out tomorrow night. And maybe then, and let's see. If folks like CNN and then what are they calling now? PMS now? Let's see if they cover the State of the Union address. So then they're going to have Abigail Spanberger on to give the Democrat opinion of things. This is the same woman that the day she was sworn in proposed 50 new taxes on the people of Virginia. 50. Meanwhile, talking about, and I will promise you, in the Democrat reaction to the State of the Union speech, Abigail Spanberger is going to get up there and talk about affordability. You watch. It's going to happen. He's going to talk about how President Trump has done nothing for affordability. You just imposed or are in the process of imposing 50 new taxes on the people of your state, and you've got the audacity to talk about affordability? Really? That's unbelievable. It really is. It's the Democrats that make things unaffordable. It's all the regulations that make things unaffordable. That's what does it. Did you know, and I read a study, did you know that up to, it's right about 35 to 40% of the cost of your home is government regulations, both state and federal? Almost 40%. That's amazing. So you can listen to that speech tomorrow night right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD. Let's go to Robert in Mills River. How you doing, Robert? Robert, are you there? Roberto. Are you there, Robert? Hello, Robert. All right, Robert, appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, 800-9050-989. That is the that's the WRD talk line. It's also the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. Well, yesterday was the anniversary of the murder of Laken Riley. And President Trump announced that February the 22nd is going to be Angel Families Day.
In just a few moments, I officially sign a proclamation that I've been waiting to sign for a long time, including my first administration. There were so many different legal roadblocks, it was incredible. We got it done, and I'm doing it today. February 22nd is going to be National Angel Family Day. Very important. So many incredible family members and friends, parents and children. On February 22nd, 2 years ago, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Hope Riley went out for a run on a college campus in Georgia. Laken was viciously attacked, brutally beaten, and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who the last administration heartlessly released into our country.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. I want you to listen to the police officer who arrested him.
While serving the New York City Police Department, I personally arrested Jose Ibarra for endangering the welfare of a child. A few months later, I saw his face again in the news after he viciously murdered Laken Riley. I did my job. I put him in custody. The system failed. No detainer, no accountability, no deportation, and an innocent American life was taken. If you enter our country illegally, there will be consequences under this administration. The American citizens must always come first. To Laken Riley's family, your loss should have never happened. We owe it to you and every American family to enforce our laws, secure our border, and protect innocent lives. Mr. President, thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for all you've done for our country. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Jerry in Greer. Jerry, welcome.
Hey, how you?
I'm good, bud. What's going on?
Well, I hope I'm still on topic. Talking about Canada,
Yeah.
and it's just all ridiculous of what we hear every day from you. We really appreciate everything you do.
Well, thank you.
And my wife and I are, you're a dear friend of ours that we've never met. Let's put it that
I
way.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, what's on your mind?
Anyway, you were talking about Canada last week also, and one thing that came to mind was a guy named Gordon Sinclair who had hit the charts back around 1971, and he was like a Canadian journalist, and he did this, it's like played the American music.
Yes.
And talks. And
Yes.
he's called The Americans.
And it's brilliant.
You spurred my memory to that, and so I played it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should be able to hear that too,
Yeah, definitely.
if at all possible, about all the tragedies that we took care of, and all the things that we did, and all the problems we had, and none of the help we got even back then.
It is really, really good. Jerry, I appreciate you jogging my memory about that. Yeah, go check that out. Gordon Sinclair on The Americans. It's a great recording. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
You're locked into the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the phones. Richard is calling in from Dallas. How you doing, Richard?
I'm good, Charlie. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. What's up, man?
Great. Listen, I heard you talking a little bit earlier about that person was a right-wing scholar.
Yeah. That's right. That's what you said.
A scholar is somebody supposed to be really smart on whatever they study. Right. Well,
Yeah.
she's that damn smart. She should have done her homework before her and her little leg-licking partner moved to Canada. Okay?
Yeah.
And another thing I want to ask you, the whole nation would be better off if the Democrats never showed up at anything.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you know that. And another thing, I want to ask you about the milk deal.
All right.
Is it racist on the kind of color of the milk, or on the count of the color of the person drinking it?
I have no idea. I
Well,
think
let me
it's.
ask you this.
I have no idea why they would consider whole milk to be racist. Or
Well,
I don't know.
Let me ask you this: is whole chocolate milk racist, or just the white milk?
I don't know. We're going to have to ask them. We're going to have to do
And
a deep.
listen,
Have to
another
do
thing
a
real
deep
quick.
dive.
These black folks that don't realize these white politicians are making fun of them right
Yeah.
to their face.
Yes.
And they're laughing along with it.
Sure.
Charlie.
Got to wise up.
Surely they're really not that stupid.
No, I don't believe so. I think they're learning. Let's go to Larry in Cleveland County. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing great, Charlie. Hey, I just want to make a statement on that Angel Act that Trump's proposed
Yeah.
or is doing. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
It's
and let
amazing.
me explain to you why. Because kids, I don't care your nationality, your political, if you're here illegal, all kids deserve the right to be protected. And we need to start taking care of this stuff. And you know how I'd feel. Just get rid of them. They're garbage,
Yeah.
Anybody that hurt a kid is trash,
Yeah, but it happens all the time, Larry. I appreciate it. I mean, and somebody that's, I've sat across from Angel Moms. We've had those discussions about what it was like. So, losing a child in any situation is horrific. But losing a child because of the actions of somebody that is not even supposed to be here in the United States, that's unimaginable. It really is. Let's go to Patrick in Pickens. How you doing, Patrick?
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, bud.
Hey, I guess so the lady you were talking about in Canada, I guess you could kind of say the old saying rings true about the grass being greener on the other side. But
Yeah.
it's not.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say the grass is green on the other side because it's over a septic tank. Right?
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, she moves to Canada. But I love the way she introduced herself. I'm a right-wing scholar. So you and all your right-wing scholarliness didn't have the wherewithal to research Canada and the cost of living? So you just moved? Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But I'm a right-wing scholar. Charlie, President Trump should look over at the empty seats and make the observation that it's just as well they aren't here tonight because they haven't been here for anything that's been done all year. I think that would be a great line. But remember, as long as the Democrats don't show up, well, good. I'm glad. Absolutely. Glad about that. So I keep checking to see how my mother-in-law is doing up in Westerly, Rhode Island. They were supposed to get 15 inches of snow today. Now, I did a little research. And did you know that there is, on average, a 10-to-1 ratio of rain to snow? On average, but that's kind of the benchmark. 10. What they call it? The fact. Anyway, so if you get 1 inch of rain, that equals 10 inches of snow. So basically, they got an inch and a half of rain. They're going to get 15 inches of snow today. That's pretty amazing. Lots of people up there are without power. New York City getting hit really big. Zoran Mondani decided that he was going to get citizen. Now, this is the way communism works. It really is. We don't have enough resources, so we were going to get you guys to come do the work. You're going to clean up your own communities. So he invited all of these people to come out there and shovel snow, to be paid volunteers, so to speak. They started out at, $19, $20 an hour. Well, not a lot of people decided to cash in on that, so they've upped it, I believe.
Due to the historic nature of this blizzard, we've increased pay to $30 per hour. You can walk into any DSNY garage until 8 p.m. this evening and then starting again at 9 a.m. tomorrow. All you need to bring is 2 forms of ID to ensure you get paid. In addition to DSNY, the DOT has also cleared over 1,300 sheltered bus stops so far. All of this is managed through DSNY's Blade Runner 2.0 system, which monitors plowing and salting in real time.
So you're going to tell me, Zoran Mandummy, that it is harder for you to become a paid volunteer to shovel snow than it is to vote in New York City? You've got to have 2 forms of ID in order to get paid, but no ID whatsoever in order to vote? That's well, I can't help it. That's the law. That's the law. You have to do that. You have to show exactly. And that's also what the Constitution says. The Constitution says that only citizens get to vote. I'm no constitutional scholar. But even I can extrapolate the fact that if only American citizens could vote, then therefore, ipso facto, you need to be able to prove that you're an American citizen. I hope if the Senate doesn't get off their lazy butts and do away with the filibuster and pass the SAVE Act, I hope President Trump does issue an executive order requiring for some sort of proof of citizenship to be able to vote. $30 an hour to get out there and shovel snow in a city that you're already paying. Oh, by the way, do you know they've got twice the budget of Florida? And Florida has more people than they have? They've got twice the budget of the entire state of Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis pointed that out earlier today. Maybe I'll play that clip for you tomorrow, which is exactly when I'm going to talk to you guys again. There's been a lot of fun out there. You know what I'm liking? I'm liking the sun setting a little later right now. Oh, we're not long from changing those clocks again, aren't we? Everybody's going to be complaining about that again. Oh, well, that's just the way the old calendar rolls. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great and glorious evening. We love you. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.
A native Georgia